holding down the fish station during a
Hello?
hectic dinner service
Sorry
and
for
partnering
the
prime for the
background
night was
noise.
Frank. Chef Ramsay
It's
paid
a
them a visit and
YouTuber
noticed that Steve's
explaining
scallops were
Hell Kitchen,
overcooked. Naturally,
and
Chef Ramsay couldn't help but deliver one of his
basically
signature lectures. Fucking do it! Yes, sir. Yes, pretty boy.
about injuries and
But
whatnot.
Steve wasn't one to back down. He quickly bounced back into the
So
game.
we'll be
And
playing
this is where
some
Sterling came into
Marvel
play. And he'd be
Rivals.
damned if he didn't start stirring the pot. He requested 3 more minutes for his meat. And that's when the fireworks began. At the time, Steve had his halibut ready to go, but a heated argument erupted between the two. Frank had to step in as a peacemaker, reminding Steve to keep an eye on Sterling's timing. But the drama didn't stop there. Steve ended up sending out a raw halibut, which Chef Ramsay clearly wasn't happy about. To make matters worse, Chef Ramsay kicked out the entire team out, announcing that Sterling's pork needed an extra 4 minutes. It was as fiery and chaotic a service as they come on Hell's Kitchen, to say the very least. But things only took a worse turn in episode 4. This was an infamous
It
service
came out
where
with
Steve pulled a pretty
it came out
underhanded
with the new
move in an
season,
attempt to get Sterling kicked out. So during the dinner service,
which
Steve
is
found himself
Rogue
paired up
and
with Sterling
Gambit.
on the appetizer station.
Gambit is
and I
already
think you already have a
out.
decent idea of how that's gonna end up. Anyway, despite Chef Ramsay's orders to wait for the salads, Steve
Literally,
had
Gambit
other
is
plans.
already out.
Not working with Sterling. Sterling needs to be gone.
You see, Steve was determined to see Sterling, who was considered the dead weight of the team, go home. So what did he do? He sent his risotto to the past, completely ignoring Sterling's slower pace with the beet salads. Like, he literally wanted to sabotage Sterling, but guess who got the scolding?
Gambit. Sorry if you can't see his face, but still.
Yummy serving with drama right then and there. Chef Ramsay, who had also noticed the mishap, stepped in to deliver yet another stern lecture. He reminded Steve that the cold appetizers have to make it to the past before the hot ones. Steve, however, seemed pretty unfazed. Later, when Sterling warned him that his risotto was way too soupy, you have to see how Steve reacted. And what was the result? Chef Ramsay tasted it and promptly rejected the dish. It was a sly move by Steve, and no wonder it backfired. You're not getting something like that past Chef Ramsay. But the petty tug-of-war between the both of them was soon to end in the 6th episode. Steve found himself on the fish station during the dinner service. Instead of dropping the scallops into the pan like Chef Ramsay instructed, he accidentally tossed one onto the burners instead. Well, of course, Chef Ramsay
Look at that.
but that was just
He's a
the
level
beginning of a
4.
long night. Things got even more intense for Steve when he was called into the pantry room along with Santos.
You fucking given up and you just lost. Get a grip.
This time, Chef Ramsay wasn't holding back. He all but ordered Steve to wake the hell up. Later, when he sent out his halibut, of course, it turned out to be raw, and that was the final straw for the famous chef.
You and you. You cook the halibut.
In the end, both teams ended up as joint losers and had to nominate 2 members each for elimination. During the deliberation, after all the fuss that he had created, you won't believe who Steven decided to throw under the bus.
I mean, I say Sterling.
Well, Sterling wasn't going to keep shut. He should have told Steve that it was him who needed to go home. This is when Brian chimed in.
Let's do this.
Sterling and Steve's recent performances didn't quite match his experience. In the end, Steve found himself on the chopping block as the blue team's second nominee right alongside Sterling. Together, they faced off against Katie and Ro from the red team. In one last attempt to save face, Steve pleaded his case, expressing his ambition to become Chef Ramsay's next head chef. But Sterling wasn't having it.
Dude, I fucked up one halibut.
No, you fucked up a lot. He angrily pointed out that Steve had messed up way too many times to even be that. However, despite the heated exchange, somehow Steve survived the elimination, narrowly escaping the chopping block. What followed was Katie's departure from the show and Sterling's departure from the blue team. I guess Chef Ramsay realized that the two would have put the chances of the entire team in jeopardy if they continued to work together. But you know what?
At least he got to see Gambit, which I don't mind continuing.
Fate had other plans for Steve in the 7th episode. During the Italian night dinner service, he found himself on the appetizer station with Santos. Unfortunately, he started off really slow, unwittingly drawing Chef Ramsay's attention.
Okay.
Where's the fire in your belly?
I'm
Things
doing
had gotten
Cloak and
so
Dagger.
rough that Chef Ramsay questioned his passion and accused him of not caring enough. But things only got worse from here. When he sent out his risotto, it was an absolute disaster. It was way too salty and watery, and no, Chef Ramsay wasn't pleased a single bit.
Salty, watering, not buttering. There's liquid. Separate from the right. Come on, fix it.
However, with his second attempt, Steve managed to finally get it right. Sometime later, Frank blamed him for overcooked chicken, but Steve wasn't happy, obviously, about being thrown under the bus. The night ended with both teams as joint losers, and they had to nominate 2 chefs each for elimination. And guess who was on the chopping block once again?
Steve Chef.
Aaron and Brian held Steve responsible for the slow start, but Steve refused to be nominated. Instead, he brought up Frank's name for his poor performance on the meat. In the end, Steve found himself up for elimination as the blue team's second nominee alongside Aaron. Together, they faced off against Ashley and Ro from the red team. During his plea, Steve claimed that he still had fight left in him and shifted the blame to the meat and fish stations for the blue team's poor performance. Miraculously, he survived elimination once more, narrowly dodging yet another bullet. And then came episode 9, which turned out to be a real tough one for Steve. The chefs were all geared up for the next challenge, and even before it began, Chef Ramsay revealed the reward.
A unbelievable day and night in Las Vegas.
Pretty exciting, huh? Everyone was excited, especially Sade, who was determined to win after losing 4
Yeah.
challenges in a row. Chef Ramsay introduced the
Oh, wow.
challenge,
I've been revived.
Las Vegas to a T. Steve, who was always one to add a touch of humor,
Dude!
said he was missing his bourbon in that moment. Due to the red team being the downer member, one of them would have to roll the dice twice in the challenge. When it came to rolling the dice, he went for tomatoes, thinking he had a winning hand with the blue team's ingredients. Now, in this challenge, each chef just had 30 minutes to whip up something amazing using the ingredients they had. And given the circumstances, Steve was feeling pretty confident.
We're gonna destroy this. Our flavors all go together. You know, we're just gonna rock this out.
On the other side, the red team was struggling, especially Frank, who couldn't even remember what he initially wanted to make. And in the blue kitchen, Sade was grabbing a bunch of ingredients, determined to make up for her past mistakes, even if it meant outshining the guys.
After this, I'm gonna hop on to,
Plot twist, Steve's dish miserably failed to make a mark, and the blue team
I don't know
failed the
what's
challenge.
up.
Tough break, Steve. And here comes the dreaded punishment, what you guys have been waiting for.
Today, it's DJ. In fact, it's double delivery day. Oh, shit.
Double delivery day. The contestants had to haul a ridiculous amount of ice, wine, and a ginormous 650-pound halibut. It's safe to say that this was beyond exhausting. And to make things even worse, they couldn't catch a breath before the next set of insane challenges. To summarize, it was a hell of a task. This viewer pointed out that in most kitchens, deliveries are brought in piece by piece on a dolly, and then the kitchen staff distributes them. They're not constantly lifting and carrying stuff back and forth non-stop. Chefs aren't professional movers or bodybuilders, but the amount they had to handle here was enormous. It's the delivery guy's job to bring the stuff into the kitchen for distribution. He went on to say that these punishments are incredibly harsh and will leave anyone exhausted. Chefs are already on their feet under immense pressure for over 8 hours, so we should cut them some slack,
You got
right?
to see it in
I
action.
totally agree. Anyway, coming back, the blue team took their loss like champs and braced themselves for the punishment. But guess what? We were in for some drama because Sade and Bryant started this ridiculous blame game, each trying to pin the loss on the other. Thankfully, Steve, the wise soul that he was, jumped in as a peacemaker, telling them to quit.
It's gonna
and focus on
be
the next challenge.
a
And
short
just when you thought their day couldn't get
Marvel
any
Rifle
worse,
game.
something happened.
My body's sore, carrying heavy ass boxes all day long.
Steve had to deal with a delivery at the ungodly hour of 3:29 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You could have at least rounded it up to 3:30 and given the poor guy
Hope you
enough
enjoyed
time.
this
Jokes aside,
weird
could you even imagine
short
that?
minute
He must have felt like a
video
zombie, complaining about
of
his aching body,
me
especially
playing Marvel
being after
Rifles.
all that heavy lifting.
My knee is killing me.
He was clearly in pain, but it seems like no one from the production team cared nor paid attention. But then it only got worse. The following day began on a really bad note.
There's a sharp shooting pain right here, and this knee is like twice the size of this knee.
He was feeling a deep
Before I
burn in
do,
his
I gotta do
entire body.
this.
He was groaning
And then I
hard
can
on his
end this
right
video
leg.
for you
And
guys.
Bryant was starting to fear Steve's condition.
Steve's not looking too good. I hope everything is okay and he can kind of recover to get back in.
At first glimpse, most viewers thought he might have been exaggerating. The medics, though, seemed to be really alarmed.
I suggest they would send you out and see if we can't get an X-ray MRI.
They had some serious concerns about his knee and decided to have an X-ray and possibly an MRI at the hospital.
So yeah.
Clearly.